Hey guys, Wayne Sutton here. Seed Faith, creating tomorrow with what's in your hand. Creating tomorrow with what's in your hand. This is a new book that we're releasing. It's an ebook. You can get a hold of it. Just comment below. If you're watching this on Facebook, YouTube, wherever, comment below. We'll get your copy of the book. And it is talking about exactly that, seeds. Now, we're going to talk about seed faith, what it means to create your tomorrow with what's in your hand today. Now, this is a book that's going to go well beyond just giving and receiving, sowing your offerings and tithes. We'll cover that. We're going to cover so much more because the principle of sowing and harvesting will continue. And it's a principle that it applies in every area of life, not just your finances. But if you want a better tomorrow, then it starts with what you sow. And it can be financial, it can be mental, it can be a time you spent, it can be so many different things. What you sow, you will reap. Period. And this biblical principle, is proven for believers and non-believers. Have you ever noticed there's some of the people that they're not a believer, they don't seem to be a believer anyway, but that God still blesses them, that like they receive because they understand the principle of seed faith. And so I'm going to go into the book today, if that's okay with you. I'm going to read it, and we're going to go through some of the lessons in here. And again, if you have any questions or you want a copy of the book, just comment below. Okay, cool. So chapter 1, what is seed faith? What is seed faith? We live in a world shaped by laws, physical laws, emotional patterns, and most importantly, spiritual principles that govern the unseen realm. Okay, I want you to grab a hold of this. There are spiritual principles that govern the unseen realm. Among these divine principles is one of the most powerful and life-altering: seed faith. Seed faith is not a gimmick. Seed faith is not spiritual manipulation. You're not buying a miracle. It's a kingdom law. Let me say this again. Seed faith is not buying a miracle. It is a kingdom law established by God Himself. A law is real and unchanging as gravity. In its simplest form, seed faith is the spiritual principle that what you sow in faith, you will reap in your future. So as we go through this book, we're going to talk about what it is, how to use it. But I encourage you to recognize the power behind it. Seed faith is the act of sowing something valuable, which is a seed. It could be your finances, your time, your obedience, your forgiveness. What's valuable to you? Sowing that in faith. Trusting that God will multiply and bring a harvest into your life. It is given with purpose. Seed faith is given with purpose. It's given with expectation. It's given into your future. That I want you to grab a hold of this. Too many people, they think, well, I've given, but you've given with an expectation. But have you given with an expectation to receive? Are you with me? Okay. I've given, but I shouldn't expect anything. But that's not what the word says. Give with expectation given to your future. Genesis 8:22, and this is so important. It says, while the earth remains, is the earth still remaining? Okay. Then seed time and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, day and night shall not cease. Seed time and harvest shall not cease. God created the system. It's a system. Seed time and harvest. The law didn't begin with a church offering. It began in Eden. Everything God does flows through this principle. Every tree started with a seed. Every miracle starts with faith. And faith is often activated by a seed. So we're going to talk about this. It's not just money. Seed faith is not just about money. It's about trusting God with whatever is in your hand. Maybe it is money. Maybe it's your time, your energy, your gifts, your talents. It's placing what's temporal into God's eternal. It's taking what's in yours is temporal and placing it into God's eternal hands. Trusting Him to bring back something even greater. When the little boy in John 6 offers his lunch, I've got 5 loaves and 2 fish. Didn't seem like much. But it became more than enough when placed in the hands of Jesus. That's seed faith. The boy sowed his lunch. Jesus fed a multitude. Are you with me? So, at the core of seed, faith is trust. It's trust. saying, God, I believe you more than I believe what I see. I believe you're my source, not my paycheck, not my past, not my limitations. It's about seeing with eyes of faith and acting on it. And I'm going to share with you guys why many people miss this. So when I first moved, the Lord led me here. I'm in Wilmington, North Carolina now. The Lord led me here a number of years ago. When I first moved here, I was not active in church. But as I became walking closer and closer with God, I had an insurance business. God was blessing me, and I received commission one month. And I thought, well, I need to give this back to God. I'm not in church anywhere. But I heard of someone, I think I visited a church a day or two, and there was somebody there that was giving Bibles away, and they were doing this as a mission to Iran somewhere. And I said, well, I'm going to give there. And I remember this was 22 years ago, 21 years ago. But I'd received a $5,000 commission check, and I said, well, let me go and let me give tithes. So I'm ready to check out for $500. And I think they were getting these little pocket Bibles for like $1 a piece. I'm like, oh, man, I can sow 500 Bibles. And so I sowed. But as soon as I began to sow that seed, I also got this thought in my head, well, what if? What if nobody else buys insurance? What if it happens to your car? What if? Have you ever dealt with the what ifs? And I said, no. And it was tough. I was struggling. I was younger in my faith. I was younger. I had no other resources. But I said, no, I'm going to do what the Lord says. And I gave that tithe. I gave that $500. Now, you may see it as a tithe. You may see it as an offering. Whatever way you see it, I gave that 10%. I said, I'm giving. What I did was sow a seed. Now, for those who say, well, if you were giving your tithe, it really wasn't a seed. It was actually given back into what God is already. I didn't have a church I was going to. It wasn't given to the storehouse. I gave this $500. I'm going to tell you what it did for me. It broke something. Yes, I believe there was a supernatural. Every seed will produce after its own kind. Every seed. So a financial seed produces a financial harvest. A seed of honor will produce honor. But also what it did was it broke the mental mindset that I had. And the mental mindset said, there's not going to be enough. The what if. It broke it. So I'm asking you, if this is good for you, want a copy of the book, we're not even we're still in chapter 1 here. I'll come back with another video. We're going to get into why most people miss this principle. Sowing and I want to teach, but I'm at my 10-minute limit here. So again, if you want a copy of the book, then just comment below. Let me know, hey, Wayne, I would love a copy of the book. How can I get a copy of the book? Just comment below. We'll get you a copy. But again, seed faith, making sure that where you sow, where you give, in the name of the Lord, is going to be good soil, because it's going to come back to you if it's a good soil. We'll talk about that more too. But again, comment below, get a copy of the book, and I look forward to chatting with you. Subscribe if you want the following chapters. God bless.